Meta, formerly Facebook, they deleted 1 billion face prints after a $650 million settlement around the ways in which they were collecting people's data to train facial recognition models that they built as a company without our explicit consent. So when I'm talking about protecting what is human, it's our creativity, but it's also our essence of ourselves.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Dr. Joy, who was our amazing keynote speaker today at Make Wakanda Real. Dr. Joy, thanks for coming and chatting with me a little bit.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. What you got in your hand there?
Well, I have something that's been 3 years in the making, Unmasking AI, my mission to protect what is human in a world of machines. So this is my first book. Came out on Halloween.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Couldn't be more excited.
I can imagine. And I love the artwork as well.
Oh, yes. We had a great graphic illustrator, Malika Favre, who did this. And I even got a little jacket design credit. So I wrote the book. I did the audio book. I helped with I did a little too much. But,
a woman of many talents. That's all I see in here, okay? So tell us about the book.
Yeah, so the idea behind writing Unmasking AI was to ask, how do we bring everybody else into the conversation? So maybe you've been seeing the headlines where there's hype or doom, fear and fascination. And I wanted to be that friend. You know, you don't have to have a PhD from MIT. I did that work, right? But the one who's saying, okay, this is a conversation where I truly believe if you have a face, you have a place in the conversation because these technologies shape all of our lives. So the book is an invitation to learn about what AI is, also how it can be harmful and how we can prevent those harms. So ultimately, it's a book of hope saying we can do better with the technologies that are now shaping the future.
I love that. You mentioned how, it can be a lot of doom and fear that is projected when you see articles and people sharing their takes on AI. Yeah. So I think people are afraid of humanity being lost, which is why I love that you made this book to begin with. But what characteristics, what human traits do you actually think will be enhanced as AI continues to develop or be valued even more as AI continues to, progress?
I love this question because it is grappling with what is human. And part of what I look at is our creativity and how we express ourselves. So there is an opportunity for some, right, where they're saying, oh, how do I use these tools to make ideas I have a reality where I wouldn't be able to do that in the first place? Others are looking at the tool and they're saying, my creative practice is under threat. Or my work has been used to make these powerful systems even more powerful and feel more human than they otherwise would be. And so you have this double-edged sword. What I want to see are tools that are made ethically. I want to use the AI tool that was developed on data where people were compensated, right? Where there was actual consent. How do we almost like how you have green tech, etc. How do you have ethical AI products? And then you can actually feel good about experimenting, not based on stolen data.
Yeah,
for sure.
Crucial.
The other thing I think about when it's protecting what's human is literally our essence. Your likeness, your face print, your voice print. So you have AI systems that are replicating people's voices and they're being used for hoax. I start the book talking about a woman who heard the voice of her daughter saying, help, help, these bad men have me. And it was an AI voice clone.
Yeah.
And it was used as a hoax.
Yeah.
And thankfully, she found out that her daughter hadn't been kidnapped and she didn't send money to the guy who called. But because of all of the social media, more of our intimate information, our biometrics are out there. Then there's also our face print, right? Meta, formerly Facebook, they deleted 1 billion face prints after a $650 million settlement around the ways in which they were collecting people's data to train facial recognition models that they built as a company without our explicit consent. So when I'm talking about protecting what is human, right, it's our creativity, but it's also our essence of ourselves.
Literally, with things like that happening, very, very real. AI is a very, very powerful tool, but we see it being used in not so lovely ways. What would you say to the person that's like, okay, I'm trying to get on board with it, but this is just crazy. I think it's too wild for them to be doing that. I don't want to lose my identity. I don't want AI to end up taking, who I am or my voice. I'm trying to adapt.
Yeah.
What would you say to them to help them, find that balance?
I would agree with caution, because part of what I write about in the book is what it means to be X-coded. And those who are X-coded, those who are harmed by AI systems, condemned, convicted, excluded, exploited, right? Otherwise hurt. And so I think of people like Portia Woodruff. She was 8 months pregnant when she was falsely arrested due to facial recognition misidentification powered by AI systems. She was arrested by the same police department that 3 years earlier arrested Robert Williams in front of his 2 young daughters due to facial recognition misidentification situation. So I do think people's fears are real, because you have AI systems deciding who gets hired, who gets fired, who gets an organ, right? And those systems have repeatedly been shown to be biased against Black people, against women. Think of an ism, and it's being coded in tech
it's there.
in some way. So I do think these fears are important to acknowledge and not to dismiss where you feel forced to use systems. And that's something I also want us to remember, that there is a right to refusal. For example, if you're traveling and you're asked to have your face scanned, you can actually opt out. The whole thing is meant to be opt-in.
Right.
But when you're not told, you're under the illusion that you have to participate, and then you see everybody else participating and you're told to step up. In a way, you're like told to use AI. So that right of refusal is okay to question. And part of sharing the stories of other people who were questioning is so we don't doubt our own experiences.
Yeah.
So when I was a student at MIT coding in a white mask to have my face detected, and I wanted to do this sort of research, people around me doubted it. They're like, are you sure it's really anything? Do you really want to get pigeonholed into that type of research? There were so many discouraging voices, almost saying that my experience wasn't valid or it wasn't important. But I knew there were so many other people like me, right, who might not be at MIT doing this sort of work, but who certainly would be impacted by this type of technology. And that was enough to move it forward. So I want to encourage everybody to understand that your experiences, your concerns, your trepidations are valid. You are asking the right questions.
I love that. And your message and your take on this is so validating. And I feel like your work is so important for that, because I feel like when people come and they're like, I'm a little nervous about that, it's like, you need to get over that. You need to get hip. You need to adapt. And that can be pushed, and people don't feel heard in the process. So if you had to target someone for this book to be like, this is who I wrote this for, would it be for that person that's like in the in-between and trying to adapt, but also is like, listen, this is a scary thing for me. I have my concerns, and they'll be able to walk away feeling that hope, feeling like, okay, I feel equipped to journey into this AI space?
So I wrote this book for the person who feels caught between fear and fascination. So there's that pull. You're hearing about it. You're seeing things being created. You don't want to be left out. You're curious. That's fascination. That's what got me into computer science. That's why I wanted to build robots. That's why I ended up going to nerd school so many times that I'm now Dr. Joy, right? Because of that fascination. And the fear has to be acknowledged, because these fears come from a real place. What does it mean if we have AI systems doing the work we thought we were training for? What does it mean if tech companies are taking people's copyrighted data, raising billions of dollars, and you're left with empty purse strings? That's why we do the work we do at the Algorithmic Justice League, where we document AI harms, where we work on actually pushing companies to change their practices, governments to change their practices as well. So we have laws that protect us. So I do think if you're somebody who is a little uncertain about AI, what it means for you, this is the book for you.
That is the book. I love that. I have a few people in mind,
Yeah.
a few family members in mind who I really want to get this book for.
Yeah.
It sounds incredible. And I have one more question for you because your passion is so palpable to me. Little you, 6-year-old you,
Yeah.
8-year-old you. I guess it's a twofold question. I just want to know, what would she think about all of the things you have accomplished? Would she have expected for you to be in this lane? Was it something that you've always been into, the tech space?
Yeah. So I start the book, chapter 1 is called Daughter of Art and Science. So my mom is an artist, so it's probably no surprise I'm a poet. And my father is a professor, and he has been doing work around medicinal chemistry all of my life. So I opened the book with what it was like to feed cancer cells cradled by my dad's hand, and what it was like to watch my mom do her 4-foot paintings that towered over my body. And I was so encouraged to truly pursue what I wanted to do. And that's what gave me the confidence and belief to even think I can go to, all of these academic places, and I more than belong. So I was very affirmed as a little girl, and I start with that little girl, through and how she grows up and ends up learning that the world of tech that I was so enamored by didn't embrace me the way I wanted to. And I had a choice. That choice of when I was coding in a white mask, I could say they don't see me and this isn't the place for me, or we redefine the space. And so I view this book as an invitation through that journey, because there were doubts, there were fears. What if I say something wrong and I mess with the wrong people, and I had big tech companies coming after me? There's some drama throughout the whole thing, a lot of behind the scenes. So I think little Joy would be proud. And then she'd be asking, but what about the Olympics? As used to be a pole vaulter. She'd be a little smart aleck. You nice, but
what about this though?
Yeah, that would be me for sure.
Okay. I'm so glad that you made the choice to redefine, because it's going to be so many other little Black girls who are going to be faced with the choice. And I think that your story is going to help them choose to redefine, especially as this era of AI continues to progress. I'm just so glad that you exist. I'm so glad that you were here today to speak with us. And I'm so glad that you wrote that book. So thank you so much for your gift. Thank you so much for the gift of time with you right here, right now.
Absolutely.
And I cannot wait to get my hands on this.
Well, I would like to leave you with a poem as a final gift. And so this is the book has poetry throughout while you're also learning about AI.
I love this. It's art and science.
It is Daughter of Art and Science. So you can't just claim to be Daughter of Art and Science, right? You got to show it a little bit. So I want to read to you a poem called The Brooklyn Tenets. Okay. And I write it in the book is during a time period where I wasn't sure if the work I was doing was making an impact. And so it was connecting with a group of tenants in Brooklyn that reaffirmed that, okay, you're on the right track. So I want to read this. To the Brooklyn tenants, resisting and revealing the lie that we must accept the surrender of our faces, the harvesting of our data, the plunder of our traces. We celebrate your courage. No silence, no consent. You show the path to algorithmic justice requires a league, a sisterhood, a neighborhood, hallway gatherings, Sharpies and posters, coalitions, petitions, testimonies, letters, Make Wakanda Real events, research and potlucks, dancing and music, everyone playing a role to orchestrate change. To the Brooklyn tenants and the freedom fighters around the world, persisting and prevailing against algorithms of oppression, automating inequality through weapons of math, destruction. We stand with you in gratitude. You show the people have a voice and a choice. When defiant melodies harmonize to elevate human life, dignity, and rights, the victory is ours.
Ooh, that's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Algorithms of oppression? Come on, wordplay. Come on. Oh, you are gold. Thank you
you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Can I have a hug?
Of course. And shout out to Dr. Sophia Noble, who wrote the book Algorithms of Oppression. Shout out to Virginia Eubanks, who wrote the book Automating Inequality. Shout out to Kathy O'Neill, who wrote the book Weapons of Math Destruction. So it's wordplay, but it's also an acknowledgement of the women who came before me and set the foundations that make up the Algorithmic Justice League and inform the work that's unmasking AI.
And now I love it even more. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I gotta come back.
No, you got to. But before you go, can you tell them where they can find you and connect with you?
Oh, absolutely. So you can connect with me on Instagram at Poet of Code. There's also poetofcode.com. And if you're inspired by the work of algorithmic justice, I am the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League. So just our initials, ajl.org.
Love it. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.